The Umbrella Academy Season 3 ending explained. This is Nerdist Now. Another season of the Umbrella Academy is finally here, and it's the end of the world as we know it. Again. The new season of the Netflix original series picks up where the previous cliffhanger left off, with the Umbrellas coming face to face with their alternate timeline counterparts, the Sparrow Academy. After a brawl and hallucinogenic dance party, the Umbrellas are ousted from their home and find themselves with nowhere to go but the weirdly ominous Hotel Oblivion. While there, the siblings go on personal journeys as they figure out their place in this new world. Victor, while processing the loss of his 1960s love, Sissy, comes to terms with his identity and comes out as transgender. Diego reunites with Lila only to be informed he has a son he never knew about and is forced to navigate fatherhood. Luther finds romantic partnership with one of the Sparrows, Sloane. Klaus and Five go on a search for Klaus's birth mother. And most importantly to the season's overall story and ending, Allison discovers that her daughter does not exist in this new timeline. We learn through Klaus and Five's journey that not only Klaus's mother, but the mothers of all the Umbrellas died mysteriously before they could be born in 1989. Turns out that Harlan, the young boy Victor passed his powers along to in season 2, accidentally killed them while overcome by the grief of his own mother's death. In turn, when the Umbrellas return to the present, it caused what is known as a grandfather paradox, resulting in a Kugelblitz black hole to form in the basement of the Sparrow Academy. The Kugelblitz grows larger and more unstable as the season progresses, claiming the Sparrow's #1 Marcus, along with the increasing numbers of animals and humans, as well as Lila and Diego's son, who was really just someone else's kid that Lila convinced to tag along. Oops. Likewise, conflict grows between the Sparrows and Umbrellas, which comes to a head at the Hotel Oblivion when Harlan returns as an old man and kills 2 of the Sparrows. The Sparrows want Harlan dead, and Allison ultimately does the deed after learning the truth and blaming him for her daughter no longer existing. Meanwhile, the Kugelblitz has grown increasingly unstable and will destroy the entire universe if not stopped. The Sparrows and Umbrellas combine forces to contain the Kugelblitz within Christopher, the Sparrow's sentient floating cube sibling, and at first seems successful. While the team celebrate, the Kugelblitz explodes out from Christopher, killing him, Faye, and unleashing an unstoppable black hole that will destroy the universe in a matter of days. Since there's no time like the fleeting present, Luther and Sloane decide to get married, and the Umbrellas and Sparrows party through the end of the world. However, Reginald Hargreeves proposes a last-ditch effort plan that could save everyone. Reginald reveals a secret door hidden in one of the rooms of the hotel, which leads to an alternate version of the building known as the Hotel Oblivion, which was discovered by Diego and Lila earlier in the season. They also found it inhabited by a deadly supernatural guardian who might also be the bellhop. This is a very different version of the Hotel Oblivion that fans saw in the comic, which was a mysterious space prison used to house the Umbrella Academy's most dangerous supervillains. Reginald explains that the show's version is a place he built as a sort of universal reset button, which requires 7 people to ring 7 bells in order to activate it. The group put it up to a vote, and the majority votes against it. Reginald kills Luther with a classic spiky hug to help motivate the team into action, blaming it on the Guardian. As the Kugelblitz destroys the universe, everyone heads through the portal, except Klaus, who Reginald leaves behind because, Dad of the Year.
Again, you're a terrible father!
Having mastered his powers of death over the season, Klaus impales himself before the Blitz can get him and joins Luther in the afterlife. After some close calls, the siblings manage to defeat the Guardians one by one and figure out the bells are a series of symbols on the floor of the lobby that match the tattoo that Five found on his future self earlier in the season. The team assembles in the lobby, but a final Guardian arrives to stop them. Klaus returns and summons a ghost of Luther long enough to save Sloane and say goodbye. Everyone steps on the symbols to activate the machine, and to no one's surprise, Reginald has deceived them, as the machine begins slowly killing them in order to work. Allison is spared as she formed a secret alliance with Hargreeves after the wedding, but as she watches her sibling suffering, she decides to do the right thing and kill their father. She then pushes the reset button and we cut to a new timeline where Allison is reunited with both her daughter Claire and her husband from the 1960s, Ray. Meanwhile, the rest of the siblings emerge out of an elevator in a park revealed to be where the Hotel Obsidian once stood. A plaque reading Obsidian Memorial Park indicates it was donated by Reginald Hargreeves on the date of the siblings' birth on October 1st of 1989. Luther emerges from the elevator as well, and that's when things truly begin to get weird. Not only has Luther been brought back from the dead, but he no longer has his giant gorilla body. Sloane is not among them, and things grow more confusing when Five tries to teleport and finds he no longer has his powers. The rest of the group realizes they have lost theirs as well, and one by one they scatter to the wind. A final shot reveals the city now covered in Hargreeves' name, and the man himself, along with his now very much alive wife, looming over it from the window of a skyscraper. Finally, we have a post-credits scene where we see Ben on a subway train that an announcer reveals is bound for Yeouido Station in South Korea. There's not too much to go off of in this scene outside of the obvious parallels to the season's opening moments, which appeared to depict Ben's birth in a similar setting on a train. The most obvious assumption to be made is that Ben is on his way to track down his birth mother, just as Klaus did earlier in the season. However, the music seems to indicate something more sinister may be at foot. Some initial theories suggested it could be another alternate version of Ben from this new timeline. But actor Justin H. Min and showrunner Steve Blackman have since confirmed that the Ben in the post-credit scene is the same Sparrow Academy version from the rest of the season. So we'll just take that theory and throw it in the trash. There's also a QR code behind Ben on the train, but it's just a fun little link that brings you to a website from Pogo's tattoo shop that offers fans Umbrella Academy themed designs. This finale is definitely the most ambiguous and open-ended of the show so far, and leaves plenty of options on the table without much setup for what may come next. This also marks the first time the show has outpaced the comics, so there's no real source material to speculate from either. While speaking with showrunner Steve Blackman, he did reveal that he has a plan in place for season 4 should the show be renewed. The circumstances of these final scenes seem to indicate that Hargreeves' machine appears to have worked at least somewhat successfully. However, Allison stopped Reginald before he could complete whatever he was doing, so it's safe to assume there is something not quite right about this new universe. But for the time being, everyone seems to have gotten a mostly happy ending. For now. If you'd like to see our full interview with Steve Blackman and the cast of the Umbrella Academy, you can find a link in the description below. We discuss what's next for their characters, who would win in a dance battle, and the possibility of a Klaus-centric spin-off of You Look Like Death. In the meantime, tell us, what do you think? Do you like the Umbrella Academy Season 3? Where would you like to see the Umbrellas go next? And who is the ultimate himbo, Luther or Diego?
What's your game? Big fan of Yahtzee.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.